All righty. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amanda Applegate. I'm the Director of Practice Development with the Kansas Pharmacists Association, and I am joined today by Curis, who has really helped us push this forward in our state. Today, we'll be walking through KMAP's pharmacy enrollment. One step at a time here. This is step 2 of 2, kind of. But just want to make sure that everybody knows, please don't hesitate, stop us and ask questions along the way. We know this is a confusing and long process, but we do want to make sure that, you get the help that you need to make sure that we're still able to serve our communities moving forward too. So a couple of quick things to get us started here. Like I said, my name is Amanda. I'm going to pass it to Shelly and Ashley to introduce themselves here. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. My name's Shelly. I'm the COO at Curis. I just want to thank Amanda and Ashley for everything they've done to put all this information together. A lot of you may know that Amanda's kind of been a driving force of this for years, so it's exciting to be here, and Ashley's spent a lot of time developing the guide. So Ashley, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. Ashley McSwain over here. I'm the executive assistant, but I'm also the credentialing specialist for Curis.
And we are happy to have them as a part of this. Certainly couldn't have done this without them. So, as Shelly mentioned, we've been working on this for a very long time, and it is one small piece of a much larger project. And so last August, Kansas Medicaid did put out the Pharmacist as Provider Bulletin. This is a huge, giant deal for our state, as there are still many states that do not allow pharmacists to do anything other than dispense medications and get paid for it. So for us to have this in our state is a very big deal. We're very excited about it. I think haven't crowed about it maybe to the degree that I would have liked, just because it's taken a while to work out some of the problems with it. So still working through some of that, but the more pharmacists we can get enrolled and engaged, the more push and pull we have as a part of this too. So what this did was, again, allow the Kansas Medicaid program to reimburse pharmacists for things other than dispensing medication. So those things that we're all trained to know how to do, we can actually get paid for those services. And right now it's one code at a time to some degree. And if you read through this bulletin, which I emailed out to everybody yesterday, you'll kind of see one code at a time, but making big changes. So for right now, what we have in our state is 2 provider types that are really related to these non-dispensing type services. The first one, and what most people are pretty probably familiar with at this point, is PTPS 25255. Most people got enrolled in this during COVID, and for some reason they decided to put pharmacies administering vaccinations under DME for whatever reason, because we weren't considered providers at that point in time. So this provider type, DME vaccine administration, has allowed pharmacists to administer and bill for vaccines other than flu shots and that vaccine administration fee. What that August bulletin allowed then to happen is the creation of a new provider type, PTPS 32276, the non-physician pharmacist. And this allowed pharmacists to then, under that particular provider type, bill for both test to treat services under our statewide protocols, as well as other types of CLIA waived tests. The idea then moving forward is to go ahead and move all non-dispensing services under this PTPS 32276 non-physician pharmacist. So anything that you do that is anything other than dispensing of medications is going to fall under this provider type moving forward. So we're not going to have to juggle those provider types. Everything will just stay under this one. So that non-physician pharmacist will house test to treat services, CLIA waive testing, all of our vaccines and vaccine administrations. And then some future things as well too that haven't quite been established, but we're working on, is that medication administration fee. So for those of you that administer the long-acting injectables, that's going to fall under this provider type 2. As well as hopefully some others, including emergency opioid antagonist dispensing and counseling. Working on that one. That's I've got question marks there because that's more of a hope right now, but we're working on it. So again, We are primarily pushing this as a move for immunizations because there is a goal date on there to have everything moved ahead of this upcoming flu shot season under this new provider type. So all vaccinations, including flu shots, which many of you are very used to billing on the pharmacy benefit side of things now, is going to move under this new provider type. Obviously we've got some work to do now. We'll go through that in just a minute. However, hopefully this will be beneficial in the future. The non-physician pharmacist does have a slightly higher administration fee for that vaccine administration. So a few extra dollars per shot will go a long way in many cases. It gets us a little bit away from those PBMs, which we haven't been so friendly with lately. So making sure again that this is really the impetus right now, is that immunizations, but that everything will sit under this moving forward. So hopefully annoying today, easier tomorrow. Shelley, if you want to say a few words about what you have done to help here.
Sure. Ashley has spent a lot of time going through the credentialing process for the group application, as well as this individual within a group application she's going to do today. And we have all of that documented. So we would recommend, if you don't have the guide yet, to go to the Curis website and get it from this download link. The main reason to get it directly from the download link is at any point in the future when we make changes to the guide, you will automatically then be emailed a copy of the updated guide. That way you don't have to keep going out and looking for more changes. We're certain we'll have some modifications to it. We all know we probably will have some MCO changes as of January 1. So there may be some modifications that have to be made at that time. And if you've obtained it through this link, you'll automatically be updated.
Yep, perfect. And that link was sent out yesterday. I will drop it in the chat here in just a few minutes, unless Shelley wants to, while I'm looking at this next slide here. So I'll stop talking in just a moment, but I do want to point out so that most people in the state right now already have their facility application in place. So this is your brick and mortar pharmacy billing for medication. So if you can fill anything, if you can fill prescriptions for a CanCare patient today, you have that in place already. What we went through in the last webinar series was the group application. So that same thing, brick and mortar pharmacy, but that allows you to bill for things other than medications. And so that provider services billing. What we will be addressing today is the next step in the process, and maybe hopefully the last step in the process of your provider services billing. Is not only do you have to have your pharmacy registered, but the pharmacist must be registered as well too. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ashley to explain. We will be playing a recorded video, which we'll explain here in a while in just a moment here. But please don't hesitate, ask questions, unmute yourself, drop it into the chat. While we have access to the expert in our state right now, we want to make sure you ask those questions as we're going here. So I will turn it over to Ms. Ashley.
Okay, as mentioned, we do have a recording, so Shelley is going to get that kicked off for us, and we're going to start that individual within a group application, a step-by-step to help you get this accomplished for your pharmacists.
And I would just note that the reason we did a recording is there's some confidential information in here we had to have in order to walk through the process. So you will see a few places where the screen is a bit blurry for a second, maybe because of the scroll. There's also some places that confidential information is blurred out. Just know that's intentional, but it'll clear itself up real quickly. So here we go.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to step-by-step walk you through the individual within a group application. To start, navigate over to the provider enrollment website, as you can see on my screen. If you don't have the link, it's right here, and we will add it into the chat for you, and you can follow along. As you see, it starts here on this welcome screen. If you scroll down, you'll come to this enrollment pre-checklist. This section is optional. What it does is if you enter this information and click this button, it'll generate which documents will be required later on in the enrollment. If you want to bypass it, just click Start. And if you do want to see, go ahead and enter the information. Your enrollment type today will be individual within a group. Your provider type, non-physician. Specialty will be the new specialty provider type. That's that 276 pharmacist. And as this is an individual application, you're going to want to enter the SSN. This question right here, are you Medicare enrolled? This answer will always be no for the IG application. If you are a provider who is Medicare enrolled, you can disregard that for the purpose of this enrollment application because the IG is linked to the group application and all billing is done under the group application. So you're going to enter no. And this right here, you'll notice a blue asterisk. This is a required field and it's just your preference. Fee for service only or managed care organizations or both. It is recommended right now just to enter both, whether you're actively participating or not. And that will save you if you later on down the road choose that you do want to pair up with like Aetna or Sunflower, then that'll save you having to redo the whole application. So go ahead and select whichever best fits your pharmacy and then click Generate Pre-Checklist. As you see here, it lets you know exactly what you entered in. And as you scroll down, it shows you what will be required throughout the application. Close it up and click Start. This is where your enrollment actually begins. You're going to want to enter the information of whoever is completing the application. If you are the provider, you'll enter your own information. If you're someone filling in the information for a provider, enter your own personal information. This section right here is to generate an ATN, that's your application tracking number, in case you need to leave before you've completed it and you need to come back into your application. Right. Okay, the provider reference here is the same as in the group application. You're going to want to put something that is just an identifying name so that when you're in your emails, you can quickly go to the correct application to be able to continue working on it. All right, click register. As you see right here, much like the other applications you've already filled out, you're going to receive this number. This is a unique number that is the ATN, the application tracking number. You might want to write it down on a sticky or something. It does go to the email that you entered, so you will have it. You don't have to panic if you don't have something to write with, right there next to you. But it is best that if you are getting pulled away or can't finish right there, you might have it on hand. So write it down, hop back in, click OK. And this is where it starts. You'll be in the general and start entering the same information that you entered before. Individual within a group. And as you see, all of the tabs have populated in the top. Click OK. Provider type is going to be a non-physician. This lets you know that once you click Save and Continue, that this will be set for the whole enrollment application. You won't be able to change the provider type after this. So make sure that you do select non-physician and that you have all your information correct. Click OK. Effective date will be today's date. Scroll down. Enter this is for the provider. So this is not, if you are not the provider, this is not your information. This is for the provider. Enter their information in. The fields with the blue asterisk are required. Everything else is optional. I'm going to pause right here and identify this. So there are a couple different types of NPIs. As you're working on an individual application, you're going to want to put the NPI 1, the NPI associated with the provider. You're also going to want to enter their social security number. Right. Are you currently enrolled as a provider? You're going to want to enter no here because this is a brand new enrollment. So the answer should always be no. If you have already filled out the enrollment, then we wouldn't have a purpose for filling it out right now. The second one here is, have you previously been enrolled? You also still want to stay with no to allow for the creation of a new provider ID number. And again, we tackled this in the front. Are you Medicare enrolled? Even if you are, you still want to enter no here because you're going to be doing all of your billing under a group. Scroll on down. This is where you get to identify fee-for-service only, managed care organizations only, or both. For today, we're going to select both. And then this one right here shows you that you have to actually go through and select who you want to associate with. Moving on, are you registered with CAQH? It's okay if you don't know what this is. This is the Council for Affordable and Quality Healthcare. This is an online provider portal. It's a data repository for credentialing purposes, and it is mandatory for all commercial insurances to be able to credential. If you have not completed this yet, it's not mandatory for this application, but it is needed for every other one. And just know that their credentialing process takes 90 to 120 days. It is very much recommended to get on it as soon as possible, so that you can get that going, so that if you are trying to credential with Aetna or Sunflower or United Healthcare or Blue Cross Blue Shield or anything else, that you already have that in and have it completed. I'm going to select yes and enter my number. And we'll toss the link to start your CAQH in the chat as well, just so you have it on hand. So this is the contact information. This will be whoever is completing this application. This is not pertinent to just the provider. If you are the provider, great, enter your information. If you're entering information on behalf of the provider, enter your own information. This is for auditing or questions. Some stuff will auto-populate if you have it in there, but there's a few fields that don't. Make sure that you fill in everything that has the blue asterisk. You do have to have a valid address. If you enter something in and this does not populate, it will not allow you to save and continue. So make sure that you're very clear on what you enter. And then when it does populate, select it. Okay, click save and continue. And just know that every time you do this, it captures everything that you've already entered so far and saves it. So if you time out or have to step away and come back to it and enter back in, it will start you right where you left off, which is fantastic. We're now under tab number 2. This is going to be specialties. If you scroll down, you'll see a spot that says non-physician. It should auto-populate for you, and then click create new. You do have to mark it as primary, but the IG application is great. There's only one choice for everything. You have a 276 pharmacist, that's that new provider type, select it. Your taxonomy, it auto-populates for you as well. You just click it, and then your effective date is generally going to be today's date. The only time that it wouldn't be is if you've already been providing some of these services in that past year, and you can backdate up to a year. So select whatever is best for you. Today, we're just going to choose today's date, and then carry on. Down here in additional taxonomies, in the group application, you have the ability to add a whole bunch of other taxonomies for billing purposes, but that's already being completed, and all billing does go underneath the group. So if you look right here, you can click create new. It's going to be empty because the only thing that they're needing for the individual is that 276 pharmacist. So then save and continue. sometimes the enrollment website does lag. So just know that if it's taking a little while longer, just hold on a little bit and it should clear itself up. We're on tab 3 now, service location. This section right here, you can ignore the checkboxes and these fields right here. All you need to pay attention to is the accepting new patients and then the gender. So click accepting new and no restrictions. Save and continue. All right, so often the system gets grumpy. It's nothing that you've done most of the time. Relook at your work, make sure that everything is completed. If it has an asterisk that you've chosen, so X out of their little red link up here, and then just save and continue again. Ta-da! Nothing you did. Happens at least once in application for me. All right, so moving on, we're on the organization details now. The organization type is going to be individual. This is very specific to the individual within a group application. It is the only option that you're going to want to choose here, and everything else is not applicable. Down here, you'll put not applicable. The individual only practices as part of a group, and then carry on, save and continue. Okay, so we're on tab 5 now. This is the associations. This is a very important tab. This is the one spot that actually ties your provider to that group application. So you're going to want to make sure that you have the associations group, click create new. And then because you already received that KMAP identification number, that 14-digit, that unique identifier that accepted your group, you're going to want to enter that right here. Everything else gets grayed out. You're going to want to click search. And then everything should pre-populate for you. Look over everything, make sure that it's accurate. And then you want to enter in the dates. It's going to be today's date. And then till the end of the world. You're good to go. Click save. And then everything drops in line here into the columns for you. Click save and continue. Okay, so we're on tab 6 now. This is the credentials. You have to enter in the information pertinent to the provider, where their what their degree is, what school they went to, their year of graduation. You're going to want to put in their license information. And then this one right here is the same as the group application, that issuing board. If they are board certified, choose which board. Pharmacy, Kansas Board of Pharmacy. If they are not, it's okay. Enter other. So whichever one is the best determinant for the provider. And then the dates of the license. I'm just going to select something previous to now and something later from now. But you do want to have the exact dates of the provider's license and enter them in here now. Scrolling down, you'll see the Medicaid program. This question is asking, is the provider enrolled in any other state? You might be working and enrolled over in Missouri or Iowa or down in Oklahoma. If you are enrolled somewhere else, you want to put yes, and then you have to identify which states. For today, we're just going to put no, save and continue. Okay, tab 7 is other. This is a completely optional section. This is if you want to be listed in the public provider directory. If so, you need to be very explicit about how you enter it. These items have to be in place first in order for it to be valid. enter in the website and click Save and Continue. This will be the pharmacy's website. Okay, we're on tab 8 here. This is the disclosures. Thankfully for the IG application here, it is much shorter than the group. You can read over the privacy information, the controlling interest information, and then again, as always, select the best answer, enter no or yes. If you enter yes, you need to be very specific in your answer. As you can see here, the status is showing that it's still new. It has not been completed. All you need for this one is that provider self-disclosure. Click Create New and enter the information for the provider. I'm going to click through these and not read all of them, but I'm going to go slow enough so that you can kind of read a little bit of them. For instance, has there any action been taken against your license? And so on. Make sure that you're very clear and that you read through every single one because they all state something a little bit different. So just make sure that you read through all of them very slowly and accurately. Okay, so redundant as it is, they want you to enter all the information again. Again, this is for any auditing purposes, if they have any questions or they need to follow up, if anything's missing or if they need to clarify something. So this is the information of the person who is filling out this application. If it is you, the provider, enter your own information. If you're working on behalf of the provider, enter your personal information. Okay, and then down here, it's asking for the address again. I'm not sure why, but just go ahead and enter it as again. Okay, as you enter in the address, it does have to be something that will populate, so it has to be very clear. Select the address, make sure that it's correct, and then enter in what type of phone it is. And then there's one last question. Click Save. And then you notice that the status has moved to completed. Click Save and Continue. Oh, give us that red bar again. Everything is in here. It has been completed. There's nothing that was wrong. Click Save and Continue. Just know that this might happen 2 or 3 times all at once, and it's nothing that you've done. So just stick with it. Let it reset. Where did I go for a record here?
A few things maybe left out.
Oh, ta-da! So again, just always know this system is a little bit grumpy. You will probably run into that, and like you just saw, might happen multiple times. Just stay the course and click that Save and Continue. All right. So now we're in section 9. This is the attachment section. You have to double check and make sure that the provider type is non-physician and that the specialty is pharmacist. It will auto-populate for you, but just make sure that it's accurate. Scroll on down here to your required attachments. As you can see, has it been met? No, it has not. So I need to enter in a brand new section 12 attestation, and then I need to enter a current W-9. One thing to note with this is the group's W-9, not like an individual W-9. Even though you're doing the individual application, this is a W-9 for the group. So make sure that it is current within, I would say probably a 2024 one. If you don't have one, we will add that into the chat. Real simple, print off a new one, fill in the information, sign it, and then get those uploaded. Some things to know about the attachment types. It is preferred to use the file transfer, and I'll show you that down here. Create new, and then the transmission method, file transfer. This can pull it directly from your computer if you have it ready and available. This is the safest way and the fastest way to submit. If you choose a different type, whether it be mail, email, or by fax, it's not as secure, and there are some things to note. It does not have any identifying information immediately, so they want you to enter in the ATN number and any identifying information so that they can quickly identify where this goes. If it's coming through the mail, they just open it up, they're like, oh, okay. So just know that that takes a lot longer for all of these. They are less secure, and it's definitely not the most preferred method. If you're able to, just choose file transfer. For today, I'm going to put by mail because this is a test application. There are quite a few things to choose on here. You're only looking for these things. It's best just to search and then highlight it and select it and click save. As you can see up above in the attachment type section 12, the requirement went to yes. Now they're only waiting on my group's W-9. So again, click create new. Select your method. I'm going to again go by mail. And then you're going to want to enter it in. All right. Click save. You can now see that both of them show the requirement has been met. So scroll down and do save and continue. You're on the very last step here. This is the agreement. Scroll down, review. This talks about the different MCOs, Aetna, Sunflower, United Healthcare. This is how you can reach them if you need. Scroll down and look at the terms. Make sure that all of your information is correct. The contact's name, the emails, MPI. This is the MPI 1, your individual, the social, your tax ID number, and then you want to click proceed. This is the same provider agreement that you had with the group. You're welcome to look at it, download it in the guide that we have up on the Curious website. We also have a link that has this in there. So you're welcome to read through all of it, click accept. You want to say yes. Now you want to move down here to the electronic signature. Click accept, enter your information in. Put in your email address, verify it, and then you're going to get a code sent to you. And this is the only way that you're able to submit your application. We want to do request verification code. Click OK. This step right here takes approximately maybe 1 to 3 minutes. It's very fast. And if you haven't received it, I would say at least within 5 minutes, then you're going to want to click it again and re-enter your email. I'm going to wait just a moment so I can receive it into my email. All right. So just like that, didn't take very long. You're going to want to copy that verification code and enter it here, and then you'll click submit or finish later. Maybe you're not ready to submit, maybe you want to get your documents and finish later. You'll just select that button, and then if you need to come back into it, enter that ATN number and go right into it. As my information is listed as I'm going to send it in the mail, this application will not process until they receive my items in the mail. So I'm going to click submit, click yes. And then you're going to get this confirmation. So this is your tracking number. This is where you can log back in. Here's a way to contact them directly, and you're all done.
Alrighty. Well, we did have a couple questions come in on the chat that Ashley answered. Ashley, do you want to go ahead and address a couple of these just in case some people didn't see the chat? And then I've got a couple more tips and Q&A.
Yes. Okay. So one of the questions was on other states, is this only if you are enrolled as a provider with the Medicaid program or if you're a licensed pharmacist in the other states? This is asking if you're actually enrolled within any other states, and they want to know which states, and then they have additional questions. So not if you're just licensed to work over there, if you are actually Medicaid enrolled. The next question, we have multiple pharmacists that work at multiple locations. Can we add all the locations in that associations tab? Absolutely. So if you already have received your approval and you have that 14-digit from that group application approval, say you had 5 different stores and you have, 5 different 14-digit numbers, then you're good to enter every single one of them right there and associate your pharmacist with that location. So yep, you can associate to all of them right there. For the W-9 and Section 12, does it need to be one for each physical location or one for the whole company? You can have the same attestation for the whole company, and then the same thing with the W-9 as it's your company's information all on one. You can reuse that same one. You don't need a new one for each one.
Perfect. Thank you. So some questions we had last time too were, can your Section 12 documents be reused?
Yes, the Section 12, that attestation, it can be reused each time. It's just your personal attestation. So yes, that can be reused.
Yeah, so definitely save those. If you haven't started yet, save those and don't have to do it again. CAQH. So this is one where I tell people, just get started now, get your pharmacist enrolled, get it going. Because for me, it took a couple of days, and for others, they've gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, or the time frame can just change based on approval. So it can take 1 to 2 days or up to 4 months. So with that CAQH, make sure just get that started, because am I correct, Ashley? You don't need it for this application. However, you do need it for that MCO enrollment part.
Yes, so it is needed for every other, anything outside of Medicaid. It is needed for any commercial insurance. And just know that if they have an influx of applications that are in, it will delay. I know in years past, I've been doing credentialing now for a while. If I've called to check on the status of one of the CAQH applications, they'll be like, we have up to 120 days. And they will straight let you know. So if they're backed up for any reason, it can take longer. If you get it in and get it done, and if they're not backed up, it can take as short as 1 to 2 days, which is great.
Perfect. Maddie has a question. Where do we see info on how to enroll as a group? And Maddie, we'll drop that in the chat. I will say definitely download the enrollment guide from Curus. KPHA has a clinical services resources page. And we do have this full video on how to enroll as a group as well too. So we'll watch Ashley walk you through that for her abracadabra pharmacy, which I very much appreciate. So that's a great question. We'll drop that in the chat here. If your pharmacist license app is up in June, as half of us are, do go ahead and use your current pharmacist license information and then update once you have your new license information. Strongly encourage, if you're like, hey, can we just do this for our owner? Can we just do this for the PIC? Please no. Please go ahead, and while you're doing this, just get everybody enrolled. I know, 98% of pharmacists can vaccinate. You do not want to miss an opportunity to protect a patient if the pharmacist that is enrolled in KMAP is not there on that particular day. So please just go ahead and enroll all pharmacists able to vaccinate. I will
And
say
Amanda,
too, oh yeah,
let me
go for
jump
it.
in on that real quick as well, just so you guys are all aware. Yes, it's daunting for the group where you have to do one for every single location. Just know that with your pharmacist, the IG application for each pharmacist only needs to be done one time. And then you can associate to all the locations. So just try and get every single pharmacist done. It only has to be done once.
Yeah, great point. This doesn't change anything in terms of the need for your vaccination protocols. So you still have your protocol with the physician that allows you to administer all routine vaccinations, hopefully, in most cases. And it also doesn't change the ability for pharmacies to vaccinate children under CanCare. So if you are interested in vaccinating children under CanCare, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and I will help you in your application to become a Vaccines for Children or VFC site. Because that is what's necessary. There's a whole different bucket of money for that Vaccines for Children versus CanCare. So please do, if you're interested in that, you see the need in your community, don't hesitate to reach out and I will help get you through that process. But this is primarily for adults 19 years and older in terms of their routine vaccinations. So certainly no change there as far as that goes. Ashley, any other questions that you've had come through? Or anything else, please guys drop this in the chat now if you have any questions. But Ashley, anything else that you've seen that you want to answer?
Yeah, no, I think most of what we've covered already. I have had a handful of people reach out to me. Just thank you so much for taking that time. If you have any questions at all, let's get them resolved. I'm available. The email address that you saw over and over in that guide that we just did is my current email address. You can reach out to me at any point in time. I'd be happy to answer even the smallest of questions or make some time, block out some time, and I can walk you through it. So just feel free to reach out to me, either email or call Curus, and they'll connect you directly with me.
Perfect.
Can I just ask a question verbally?
Absolutely.
Okay, I have two questions. So my first one is, so to clarify on the provider, a Medicaid provider in another state. So I have an Oklahoma license and we accept Oklahoma Medicaid for prescriptions, but we have not done this process to enroll as a provider, like a pharmacist provider in Oklahoma. Is that a yes or a no?
No, it's if you've been through this process of this application in Oklahoma, that's what they're wanting to know.
Okay, my second question is, I know you said you need the CAQH for the MCOs. So if we have a pharmacist that vaccinates but isn't maybe going to do other services, do they need to do the CAQH? Yes, so every single vaccinating pharmacist needs the profile. Perfect.
Yep, absolutely. And that's when I will say the CAQH, I think a lot of people make it out to maybe be a little bit bigger deal than it is. You do need some very specific dates, which that link I just dropped into the chat and I will email out to everybody following up as well too. That clinical services site does have a section where it walks you through what you need for that CAQH application. Really the most challenging thing is probably figuring out the date that you graduated. So having things like your, degree at hand can really help get that in. The system is built for physicians and not for pharmacists. And so you'll find things such as, medical colleges will populate right away, but colleges of pharmacy do not. So that CQH application, I will say probably takes 20 to 30 minutes per pharmacist. And honestly, finding, the date of your graduation is probably one of the hardest pieces of it. So nothing is difficult. It will just take a little bit of time. The other thing about the CAQH application, I will say too, is we've had some pharmacists have challenges if you do not have personal liability insurance. Professional liability insurance for you as a pharmacist. If you do not have that already, you're relying on a stores or something like that. Strongly recommend that professional liability insurance for the pharmacist. Not only to follow you out of the store if you're doing things such as volunteer work or PRN shift at a different pharmacy. It's also really not that expensive. So that will help get you through that CAQH process faster. So CAQH application, all pharmacists doing any sort of clinical services, I would just get it out of the way. So that's one of those is, I'm telling all of my students, do it the day you graduate just to have it ready to go. But yeah, that's a great question.
Also, another thing, I was going to type it in there, but I'm just going to verbally say it here. Just know that a lot of what you're going to do and a lot of the maybe attached documents or the CAQH, a lot of the material is very, very redundant. So if you have your material on hand and you have it ready, just keep it right there in that stack, because when you go into the CAQH, it's going to ask you a lot of the same questions. Just your personal information, your license, your degree, your schooling, and a lot of the same stuff that was already asked in here. Same thing for that independent application, that robust 15-page one that is required in that group application, not this one, but the group application. It again, very redundant. It seems like you're filling in the same information, and their system, it seems like it needs it over and over and over again. So just keep it all in one place. It will save you a ton of time.
Yeah, definitely. No mean city about words is this process kind of sucks. I don't even know like how else to say that is. It's not an easy it's not a difficult process. It just does take time. But hopefully, you know, this is the last time we'll have to go through this, since all of those clinical services moving forward will fall under this. So I don't see any other questions rolling in the chat. I don't see anybody else unmuted at this point in time. So our contact information is up on the screen right now, and it will be emailed out to everybody as well too. So please don't hesitate. Reach out with any questions as you're in the middle of doing this. Give Ashley a call, send her an email. We do want to help you through this process because, you know, like I said, the quicker we get through this, the better for everybody. And we just want to make sure that you have the help that you need to get through this summer, so we can continue, you know, providing vaccinations for our patients moving forward, and all of their services after that as well too. So with that, I will go ahead and thank everybody for attending. We will get this recording posted shortly, so you can share it with those unable to attend today. And with that, again, just huge thank you to Curis for the work that's been done so far and the work that will be done in the future. They have been an incredible partner in all of this. And it, you know, it takes all of us to move the profession forward. So thank you for what you at your pharmacies are doing as well too. So with that, have a good rest of your afternoon, and don't hesitate to reach out if you need us.
Thanks, everyone.